Chanel is one of today's best known and most highly sought after fashion brands, and has been one since it was started in 1909 by Coco Chanel. But instead of looking into the brand, I want to look into the career of Coco Chanel today. While many people know about Chanel today, they don't know about the background or even the woman behind the brand, Coco Chanel. It first started in 1883 when she was born. She was born to a laundry woman and a salesman or a street vendor. And at age 12, her mother passed away, which is tragic, and her dad chose to put her into an orphanage. At the orphanage, she was raised by nuns, and it was under a very strict regimen. But one perk that she did get when she was living with the nuns is that she got to learn how to sew. And so she really learned and created her craft on how to sew hats, dresses, everything. When she got out of the orphanage at 18, she chose to pursue a singing career, which is where her nickname Coco came from. Her actual name is Gabrielle, and that's where her nickname came from. And then in 1910, she was dating this man, Arthur Chaplin, and he got her her Parisian apartment as well as her first store. Her first store only sold hats, but it quickly became a huge hit among French actresses. From there, she opened another store in another part of France where she sold sportswear made out of jersey, which is what normally men's undergarments were made out of. This was revolutionary in the fashion world and in women's wear because it really changed their clothing from being tight and restricting to comfortable and feminine, all at the same. During the 1920s, or the Roaring 20s, was when Coco Chanel really became a fashion icon. Her fashion house, Chanel, the brand, was thriving, and she was an immediate style icon with her modern style and her feminine bob. In 1921, she unveiled her first fragrance, which was Chanel No. 5. It instantly became a favorite among people worldwide, not only in France, and it still is a scent that everybody wears to this day. It's something that's easily recognizable, and everybody knows somebody who's either used the scent or knows what it smells like. It really is something that has transcended through time. From there, she went on to create 4 more fragrances just within that decade. Now her line hosts over 12, but just in the 1920s, she created over 4, which is a lot. And in 1924, the amazing tweed jacket became a thing. She had a new boyfriend, and he was riding horses one day, and she really was inspired by his tweed jacket and how unconventionally comfortable it was. So she decided to buy her own in earthy tones, and that's what she used for her designs to create the iconic tweed suit that she's seen sporting quite often. 1924 is also the year that she came out with her beauty line, which is still around today. Back then it only had face powders and lipsticks, but now it hosts a full range of products and is known for its bronzer and gorgeous eyeshadows. It's also known for having one of the most iconic and gorgeous red lipsticks on the market. Then, in 1926, she revolutionized the fashion world once again with the concept of the LBD, or the little black dress. Nowadays, this is something that every woman owns, or multiple of, because it's such a classic look. But back then it wasn't a thing, and she was the first one to create the simplistic black tailored dress that every woman should have in their wardrobe. It became an instant classic. In the 1930s, Chanel was offered an amazing deal by Samuel Goodwin. The deal was, for the sum of $1 million, she would be brought into Hollywood and would work closely with other celebrities other than people that were from France. This was a huge deal because her fashion house was now nationwide and international, and she needed to really make her mark. So she took the deal, and she worked with many amazing stars at the time, including Gloria Swanson. Unfortunately, it didn't go super well, and she developed a huge distaste for America, but especially Hollywood culture, as she called it. She called it as the capital of bad taste, and never returned. But her styles still lingered in that era. 1935 was really the height of Coco Chanel's fame and the brand's fame. There was 4,000 employees, there was 5 stores just in Paris alone. It really was known as the staple of luxury and class. Then in the 40s, Coco Chanel decided to close up shop due to the Second World War. A lot of businesses were taking hits because of the Second World War, and she made the bold move to shut down all of her stores except for one, and the one that was open would only sell jewelry and perfumes. Perfumes were still doing well, and a lot of American soldiers were requesting them because that was what their wives wore back at home. Finally, in 1954, Coco Chanel came back from her life in Switzerland and returned to Paris. She came home to a very different Paris than what she had left in the 40s. There was this very over feminine style that all the women were wearing, the just classic A-line dress, the classic quintessential 50s housewife style, which was created by Dior and was considered the new look. She didn't like this and thought it was a very tiring silhouette and wasn't classy enough, and she decided to bring back her signature style. She expanded her many styles with bell bottoms and pea coats and reopened all of her couture stores and houses. Her tweed suit re-entered the market and was even bigger of a success than it was in the first place. Then in 1955, Coco Chanel created the iconic Chanel jumbo flap bag. This bag has the quilted fabric and it comes with just the 2 cc's or just a clasp, and it really revolutionized the world and is still an amazingly fashionable and bag that is worn all the time today. It was so iconic because it had a strap. Many bags then didn't have a strap, they were clutch style. So this bag really revolutionized the world because it allowed women to be able to have their hands free while they were out at the opera or at a show without juggling their handbag. In 1957, the iconic slingback shoes were created. These are the classic shoes with the nude slingback and the black pointed toe. This shoe, again, is still something that is worn to this day and is still seen as something that is very stylish. And it was created to elongate the legs and shorten the foot. It's really quite a gorgeous shoe, and at the time it really revolutionized the world, and every hot celebrity at the time was wearing it. On the 10th of January in 1971, Coco Chanel passed away. This not only shook the brand, but it also changed the world forever. She was somebody who was looked up upon and was a working woman and worked till the day she died. And she had a spectacular life that was filled with much triumph and was really a rags to riches story. And her heritage is still very noticeable in the brand today. The brand still carries a lot of the things that she designed, as well as incorporating her designs into the stuff that they make that is current.